Alright, I'm ready to whip someone's ass. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video of mine. This time I'm back with Heaven's Sacred Requiem, Season 1, Episode 8. We found a magic door in bloody Kira's room. I'm trying to not to swear y'all, but it's really difficult. Like, I hate every single one in that place. Everyone but my man CAIN. And Boris, of course, but he's not in that place right now, so... And I'm just intrigued to know what's behind that door. Or if there are gonna be zombies behind that door, because it seems like it was that well hidden. No one saw it. So, what is in that room? I didn't really understand how she came to all of those conclusions in the last episode, which made her look in Kira's room. Maybe it's because of the fact that it's been many months, as in months placed between the updates. So for me, it was difficult to put last episode together with like that episode with which the last update ended, where Kira came into our room and she was like, can I sleep here because it's cold in mine, or I hear voices, etc. But no matter, we found that damn door, so let's see what's behind it. The mystery has been solved, but something amazing awaits. Yes, please let me have a romantic moment with my man. Heaven's Secret Requiem, Episode 8. The city shed red tears. Damn! Not the zombie apocalypse, y'all. I always get that vibe of zombie apocalypse when they're like, the city shed tears. Tears in red. As in, there will be fountains, bloodshed everywhere. The wall parted in opposite directions and a passage opened in front of us, leading into a hidden room. Ice-cold air was gushing out of it. It blew so hard that Kira, who was standing next to me, shuddered and buttoned her vest all the way up. I told you there was a strong draft in here. You and I inspected every inch of this room. Where did a whole door in the wall suddenly come up from? That means you didn't do a good job, babe. I don't know, but I definitely won't be sleeping in here anymore. Babe, you can also sleep outside. I could care really less. Is there anything else in this house that we don't know about? A basement with a bunch of corpses, for example. I wouldn't be surprised considering what you did to me, drugging me in order to get what you want. It wouldn't surprise me, y'all, that Dimitri would actually drug people that he wanted answers from and they weren't as resistant as us with the drugs in their system, and then they died because they weren't capable to handle all that drug. Most likely, this isn't the last mystery left by the previous Romanov. I can't imagine that he decided to stop at just one room when he had an entire estate at his disposal. Kira didn't share my enthusiasm for hidden places. Y'all, I don't think I can say it more. Do I care if they want it or not, if they're happy or not? I just want them all to die, y'all. I just want them to die. Like, I'm not enthusiastic reading their names. They literally suck the fun out of everything. Her lips stretched into a thin line as she fell silent. Good. Know when to shut up, girl. I mean, I know you ain't smart, but still. I couldn't wait to see what was hidden in that door. What did the owner want to keep away from prying eyes? I stepped toward the light, but my path was blocked by the general's arm extended in front of me. Am I surprised that this bitch is gonna get in the middle again? Like I said, this man always on my dick. Always in the middle. Always there where he shouldn't be. He's always in the way.
Stop! There are problems with the beams of the second floor, and this room probably hasn't been served for who knows how many years. We need to check everything first.
Like I said, I'm gonna keep my comments to myself. This man always there. Like, the way he's talking, I think I should just add it in because I know there are a lot of Dimitri fans in here. Like I said, he's a bitch, he needs to go. Like, he needs to die. But there are some moments where you can actually see his leader qualities. Like, the writer fucked him so up. The writer fucked him over. Like, he's such a fucked up character, y'all. He has those moments where you can see that he's actually really responsible, resourceful, like he thinks. He doesn't just work on impulse. Like I said, sometimes. It's in moments like these where he was like, I know you want to go in there and trust me, we will. But right now we need to make sure that you won't fall down. Because who knows, maybe it's wooden floor. Who knows how stable that floor is? You will be falling down from I don't know how many feet to the ground. You did. Dimitri's broad back disappeared into the passage. A few minutes later, he appeared again.
An ordinary office. The floor in order. It's holding up. Simona, Anna, Kira, Lista. You need it here. The rest of you are on duty scheduled. Perimeter. Roof, square, forest.
Several soldiers sighed in disappointment as they shuffled their sleepy shelves away. After shouting, "Yes, General," in Indonesian, they left the room one by one. I noticed that I knew each of their faces. The squad is down by 3, but there are still people I've never spoken to, and whose names I don't know. In addition to Dimitri, Anna, and Kira, another soldier lingered in the room, the one who had recently accompanied me to the library. Do you have specific orders?
Yes. Find CAIN.
That's the only thing I agree with. Thank you. Get your ugly ass back here, CAIN. Your ass is needed here. Stop with all that patrol bullshit.
Tell him there's a job for him.
Don't tell me he's gonna ask him to kill someone again.
Got it. Am I dismissed?
Before Dimitri had a chance to answer, I thought about the owner of the estate. I wonder if Boris knew about the office. General, we should call Boris too. This is his home after all.
That can be done later. First, let's examine everything on our own.
He's injured. By the time he gets here, we'll have gone through the office inside and out several times. The general looked at me questioningly and then nodded to Lester.
Call the hunter too.
Not only will Boris be able to tell us much more than we can find on our own, but all of this actually belonged to his family. Boris will be pleased to know that you thought of his interests too. Aww. I'm just always happy to see Boris. Let me make this story a little bit more acceptable, y'all. I know that most of you agree with me on the fact that Anna, Dimitri, and Greg need to be murdered. Kira too. Like, maybe I will be capable to get on board with Greg a little bit, but right now, he a bitch. He needs to die. He needs to go. Like, those 4 are literally like a pain in the ass. They're a pain in my ass. They need to go. The second I read their name, I'm immediately in a bad mood. That's real hate, y'all. The soldier left to carry out his assignment, and we finally stepped into the office. Ooh, I saw that statue. Once inside, I felt sympathy for Kira. It was brutally cold. An enormous cross leaned against one on the walls, gave me chills. The rust on it resembled bloody smudges. Romanov built almost the entire city himself. Maybe he didn't have time to put the cross on the church. The shelves were filled with plum books, each with shelves of notes sticking out of them. It seemed that the owner of the office had reread his library many times, and I went to the window following Dimitri. Through the broken glass, a small snowdrift blew into the room, covering the shards. Is this glass we were looking for the night Amir was killed?
Yes, Simona heard something breaking. And this has to be it.
Whoever broke into the estate was probably looking for something important in the office, and he was almost certainly in a hurry. Dimitri shook his head.
Amir was killed from behind, which means he posed a threat. It would have been possible to inspect the office, which we didn't even know about, quietly and silently without casualties. Considering that someone tried to break into your room, you were the target.
What? Someone couldn't figure out Grandma Salt's recipe? Kira muttered under her breath with a nasty grin, but Anna heard everything and shot her an icy look. You know what? Is she shading me or is she shading Anna? Because if she's shading me, I would be living for Anna's reaction. If she's shading Anna, shade her. Shade her. Come on, Kira.
The office is just an entry point, simply used for a rushed escape.
Oh, the book was the reason, but who would want it without the translation?
Hey, lab tech, what does the dictionary you are searching for look like?
Did he just call me lab tech? Y'all, Dimitri keeps on sinking lower. Son, you're almost reaching the lava core. You're almost reaching the point of no return on Earth. I decided to show the general a similar one. I just described his features. Answered briefly, almost rudely. To be quite honest, I would have to. What's with all the hearts? Don't be thinking anything of this but in general, I would just answer. Like, just describe the features. It's old. It's hard to imagine what might be on the cover, but the title will definitely have something to do with demons. I need to see anything that fits that description.
Kira, Anna, sort out the shelves. I'll inspect the drawers.
You're glad Dimitri didn't leave you to deal with everything alone. This man is literally... Y'all, I don't know about you. Please don't tell me that you actually felt like this, because if you did, come over here and let me give you a hug. Let me kiss you. Like, no one should ever feel like this. You know, when you're in a room full of people and you still have the feeling you're alone? That's the exact same situation. The character being out here saying she's glad Dimitri didn't leave her here alone. Bitch, you are in 4. You're in 4 and you're still alone. Just because there are 3 more people with you, it's still literally, it's like this tension, you could cut it with a knife. Before returning to the search, I looked around the office. It was rather small, a tiny gloomy box filled with piles of strange things. The directory I needed could be anywhere. It should definitely be here, and if I can find it, I can accurately interpret the symbols found in the city and correlate them with the murders. Understand their purpose and the threat. My eye was caught by a large portrait standing in the corner, along with some empty frames covered in cobwebs. On a whim, tossing aside my other thoughts, I drew it closer and pulled it away from the wall. Do you think Romanov will be on it? Or maybe his beautiful wife? The picture was covered with dust and attracted Anna's attention much more than the search for the mystery book. Guess we'll find out. The spiderwebs came off in layers, dark gray and almost weightless. They covered the entire image. Is this the founder of the estate? Isn't he too young? He looks no more than 20. There was a sudden knock from the doorway. Everyone turned sharply and saw CAIN, who was rubbing his wings after they'd been bruised by the door frame. Baby!
If the door is low, you need to duck down for future reference.
Mommy! My reaction, literally.
Thank you, General. Your advice is always worth its weight in gold.
Me. 1000% me. Y'all, like I had CAIN's reaction. I had CAIN's facial expression. I can't.
Demona, tell him what exactly you need to find.
The angel approached us. He examined the portrait, then he turned his gaze to the shelves around him.
Knight's office. Its owner loved riddles. You don't say. Without a guide, you could lose yourself in this room.
The young man from the picture looked proud and businesslike. Noticing the features of Boris in him, I unconsciously smiled. The painted Romanov had a book at his side that looked like a notebook. The portrait has to dissect either the most precious things or the most important and secret things. They wouldn't paint an ordinary book. I leaned closer, peering at the picture. CAIN sat down near me.
Oh, we're looking for it.
Among other things. An hour later, both books I was hoping to find were found, and they lay in front of me. The first one, the one the young man from the portrait was holding in his hands, turned out to be Romanov's personal diary. If he made any observations of the city or the locals, it will be useful for us to know. The second was a directory of Christian demonology. The founder of the estate hadn't returned it to the monastery, but perhaps he had once donated it to them. Anna and Dimitri stood next to me, leaning over the books. Y'all, I never understood when I was younger, but I do now. When I'm working and I'm actually concentrated, I want to do a good job. Like, I'm also a perfectionist, so that kind of makes my situation worse. I want to do a good job. You being down next to me, like you crouching down next to me, your hot breath next my neck, I can hear you breathing, like, and not in general, like we all breathe, but like, you know, this like frustrated sigh Or just you breathing out loudly like, no, leave. I have only that much patience. Kira sat behind them, making herself comfortable on the windowsill. Y'all, I don't even know what to say about them. Like, all three of them, just leave, let me be with CAIN. That's the happiness I would have. CAIN was forced to stand on the other side of the table and view the text from the books upside down. His wings kept hitting the others, driving them crazy. Thank you, CAIN. I'm in love with this man. He's my soulmate. To be quite honest, he actually gives also the vibes of a petty person, you know? Like, you get on my nerves, I get on yours. It would make sense because Dimitri did say, like, duck when there's a window, like, for future reference. And he did get hurt because he wasn't capable to duck in time. So, the logical reaction from this man being petty, thank you. Now, try to move away from my wings so that they don't hit you. Difficult, isn't it? If Greg were here, he'd make a joke and the atmosphere would immediately become friendlier. I wouldn't be so sure about that, bitch.
Well, what do you say?
There's something interesting, both in the diary and in the book. Everyone present moved closer. They looked at me differently now. I remembered that look well from childhood. It was recognition. It marked a victory. Shaky and short-lived, but so necessary. Not in my eyes. Like, I would keep every single development to myself because they did nothing in order to earn it. Like, this is my job, finding out information, deciphering, etc. That's my job. I can do it. Can you? No, that's why you need me. But you don't feel the need to respect me and see me as an equal. You see me as a prisoner, and every time something goes wrong, I'm the blame. I wouldn't tell them shit. If you make progress, you're loved. If not, you're a useless burden. Been there, done that. Everyone must prove that they're worthy of respect, and love must be earned. I'm not a child anymore, yet nothing has changed in the world since then. I didn't change either. It's unlikely that I ever knew pure unconditional love. I didn't strive for love and acceptance, even though I understood them. Me personally, like, if you want to know, I am someone that gives out, or at least I want to believe, that I give out pure unconditional love to everyone that I meet, you know? Because I know what it feels like not to get it. But considering the fact that I give it out, I know what it is. So I can't really say, yeah, I never knew it. But it could also be that this question, or more like this answer choice, means I don't think I ever knew it because I never received it. It would make sense. I was striving because I never got it. So I would have to go with that again. I've never experienced it before, and I doubt I can now. I ended up becoming an exact copy of my parents, the very thing I was trying to escape. Having pushed the uninvited thoughts away, I pulled Romanov's diary closer to me. There were many entries, but I was interested in the one toward the end. To be quite honest, I need to add that here as well. She was like, I turned into my parents, something I was trying to escape from. When you grow up with like a specific kind of love missing, you actually turn bitter when it comes to that topic, and that's the energy you give out. Because it's what you've been missing your entire life. And especially if you see someone have that, you immediately become cold and distant toward that person, not because of something they've did, but because they reminded you of something that you wanted for yourself and you didn't get it. You're not mad at them. You're hurt by the fact that they had it and you didn't. Like, for the people that sometimes even ask themselves that, when you are psychologically unstable, the entire world is you. Because your world right now revolves in you finding out why you're feeling so bad. Like a confession, they overflowed with all of the owner's experience. The diary is filled with analyses of demons, thoughts about God, and how to touch the unknown. Demon analysis? Did he study them? Although... And I looked around the office again. That would be a safe assumption. Even in the main library, there were a lot of books about the occult science, sacrifices and dark religions. The merchant attraction to everything dark is obvious. Yes, in the office I even found publications that were banned and considered lost. They probably cost a fortune. He was undoubtedly a rich man for this home.
And one with connections. What's man like that doing out here in the middle of nowhere?
That is exactly what I want to talk about. Is it worth laying it all out in great detail, bitch, in great detail? I read the most important parts from the diary. They'll help build a big picture. You'll be surprised when you learn more about Romanov. I ran my hand over the diary and found the right place. I began to read aloud. Ooh. The order is outlived. The old fools don't believe in the power of the book, in its strength. Old people can only swift wine through the rotten teeth, so let them make way for the young. Now the book is securely enclosed in my briefcase, and the horses are carrying me to Siberia, far from home and even further from that generation of pompous idiots, to a free and pure land.
So Romanov stole the book of the apocalypse from some order.
Yes, and the order apparently is an ancient secret society, and it's clear that it was extremely difficult to join. But there's something in Romanov's words that make one think that the order was one of a kind. And then apparently there is nothing superior to it. Yes, exactly.
Okay, so what's next?
I was not mistaken. This place beacons me. I feel that the secret of the book will finally be revealed to me. The local people say this is the devil's land, and there is nothing more I desire than to hear every story about these taiga forests. What anomalies are hidden here? What discoveries await me? I looked up at the squad. Everyone was listening intently, trying not to miss a single word, except CAIN, who was bored and stared out the window. Sonny! It was as if he knew the story already. The general cleared his throat, and I continued reading. There are majestic menhirs everywhere here. They mark the line between all worlds, Oris, the lowland, and the gods, the sublime. Does this picture the menhirs you mentioned? Yes, tall blocks of stone.
I'll say this right away. These are the most ordinary of stones, and this is the most ordinary of places.
CAIN! Shh! Let me read.
At least for now.
Shh! Silence. I began to research the book. My rituals are imperfect, and I cannot achieve results, but it seems that I'm getting closer.
It seems that Romanov knew more about the book than we do, even though we have a psychographer in our midst.
Romanov deduced many things. He saw this picture and gave it the meaning that he wanted. He connected things that had nothing in common, just to convince himself that he had found something. It was hard for him to admit that he had left the capital and was on the run for the sake of his own ephemeral illusion. Look. Oh, wow. He actually studied demons and angels, as in actually studied them. Opening the directory, I set it next to the diary and flipped through the entries until I got to the page I was looking for. Here on the right is a diagram of the angelic ranks in the directory. Here on the left is a redrawn version by Romanov, where he sketched a man and added symbols as well as replaced the angelic ranks with demonic ones. There is that sign we found on the tree near the railroad. And I pointed at the sketch of the man nodding the symbol of the shoulder. Does it say what it means? Partially, the directory shows a different version of the symbol we saw. We came across the variety of the sign as interpreted by Romanov. And the Romanov sign are modified, not the same as in the original.
And vice versa. The original isn't in the directory.
Yes, but then you need to know for sure which one is authentic. I continued reading the diary. People from the monastery are communicating more closely with the locals. This worries me. They instilled such fear in one of the monks that he cut off the finger of his brother in faith and asked that the demons not sprinkle the ground with blood. Damn! I'm no longer sure what I got myself into. It is impossible to control the monastery. The only good thing is that everything is ready. All that remains is to perform the mystery ritual and surrender to something dark. Damn. What kind of sacrificing bullshit are we getting ourselves into? Like, y'all. To be quite honest, I'm always ready for, like, a storyline with sacrificial stuff. Like, for those that don't know, I'm a huge The Vampire Diaries, the originals, and Legacies fan, and a sacrificial magic and everything is always top-notch in my eyes. This is where the notes end. Romanov kept his diary for decades, describing events scattered from his youth right up to old age. By the way, among other things, he repeated mentions that the city will cry if the locals don't do it. That doesn't sound like enough information. It's as if we're dealing with some kind of twisted local cult. What does all this mean? Some of the symbols on Romanov's diagram are crossed out. This means that he somehow tested the signs and did away with the ones that didn't work. Then it'd be a good idea to take the sketch with me. I carefully tore out the page from the diary and put it in my notebook. Now you'll always have the sketch at hand. Okay. The local shaman said the same thing, that the city would cry and this would mark the beginning of something terrible. And what does that mean for us? Alright. The city will cry, tragedy will come, a cross in the sky predicts the death and the death. What could she be talking about? Is she even still alive? Like, the narration said that we kept her from completely dying, but did she actually survive? I leafed through both the diary and the directory again.
So we have a controversial city founder in form of an occultist, and local people who believe in this being a diabolic place. How will this help find Nick, understand who killed Amir, and find out what happened to Noah?
I've had similar thoughts, but what I want to know more than anything is find out what happened to Romanov. Judging by the latest diary entries, the ritual Romanov prepared was not successful. Something happened and he didn't write anything else after that. Given how abruptly the notes end, it's safe to assume he died. Find more information about the book. It's incredible that the book was already in Rotkov, and how it eventually made its way to me, considering that it used to be on a different continent. Of course, it could have been transported, and also a lot of time has passed, but it's still surprising to hear about it. I'm sorry, is it just me? Isn't a rift supposed to be, I don't know, some kind of hell? As in, how do I explain what I think of a rift? Like, there is this huge-ass rift, and the second you fall into it, you burn. As in, you know, some kind of lava or something that just is in that rift. And you as a human being, you can really survive there because the environment is just not for you. And the second you get close to the rift, you burn. Or let's just say it differently, you die. The second you get too close to the rift. Like, is it just me? Am I imagining it wrong? What do you all imagine under a rift? Lost in my thoughts, I leafed through the diary until my eyes caught a phrase that had previously seemed unremarkable. Romanov wrote that he tried to combine the signs from the book, similar to summoning sigils, with local beliefs. But there's only one silly-like sign in the book, the pentagram, the one I sketched a copy of for myself. Understand what it'll all come down to. And it still remains a mystery what Romanov's final goal was. Why did he steal the book, and what did he want to summon? Seeing my hesitation, CAIN, who had previously expressed only deathly boredom. To be quite honest, I love CAIN. I love him with a burning passion. He's like, I know all of this bullshit already. This is just too stupid for me. I'm just gonna stay in the back, not say anything, because sadly I can leave right now. But all of this is just boring to me. Carefully took the diary from my hands and began to leaf through it himself. Do you see what was written at the very beginning? On the cover before the first page. He's so fucking hot, y'all. Like, shoot me. I felt Anne and Dimitri straighten up from where they were standing nearby. I, too, leaned forward with interest and impatience. It's the same line. He pointed to some beautifully designed Latin text. We had talked about it recently. He uses this phrase even in his personal diary that he kept before founding of the estate in Rotkov.
Don't you remember that you're not alone here?
Sonny, I don't even remember you existed a few seconds ago. When CAIN is around, in general, like, you don't mean anything to me. In general, I could give more shits about you. But in general, when CAIN is around, all my focus is on him. Why the fuck would I care what's going on with you two? Why should I give two fucks about if you feel offended that I'm talking to him and not to you? You can leave, son. Like, just get out of my sight.
What phrase are we talking about?
Something that doesn't interest you. To be quite honest, I would die to hear him say that.
Whenever he tells a lie, he speaks in character, for he is a liar and the father of lies. Who is he?
The devil. Ooh, what is Byron doing here? A period. Me.
The father of lies is the original demon.
Pylon, who had appeared in the passage, knocked on the door frame and attracted our attention.
None done. Do you need anything else from us? Yes, what kind of primordial demon? Is it the devil? Satan?
Are we going to just take his word for it? General, he's an immortal.
And you're mortal. So what? Yo, all this fucking bullshit. Like, be glad that you have immortals on your side. Like, the rift and all those fucking beasts that are coming out of it, all those abominations, they're supernatural. Be happy that you have supernatural support on your side. What is all this, y'all? I just hate them all. I hate them with a burning passion. Why do we get such fucked up characters? How is it possible that only Boris and CAIN are the acceptable ones? All of the other ones are trash. Come on, and Pylon. Come on. All of the other ones are trash. Like, I don't know what the author thought when she screwed over all those characters. Like, literally, only one love interest is acceptable in the story, y'all. Pretending not to hear that demon walked inside and stood next to CAIN. He's about to fucking burn you at the stake, Pylon. I think you should read carefully.
I could have kept it to myself, but I will show respect to your cryptographer.
CAIN glanced at me for just a second, but it was enough to make me nervous. Me. Y'all, CAIN don't like the attention Pylon is giving us. Even though Pylon is following his own goal, I don't think that CAIN cares about that. From one side, he could be jealous and upset that Pylon is interested in us, or more like showing interest. Or he could be frustrated and nervous and worried about us, because perhaps he can imagine what Pylon could be doing to us, as in what he could ask of us in order to get answers that CAIN didn't want to give us. We did do a deal with him, and like seeing that Pylon kind of like is capable to make us shut up, which is usually not something we do. He could be extremely worried and frustrated right now because, we're not talking to him about it. Did he guess? Y'all, what did I say? He mad. He not having any of Pylon's bullshit. He is so upset. Pylon is literally like a red flag to him. Pylon is a red flag to CAIN. Every single time that Pylon shows up and he says something about us or talks about this man's childhood, CAIN is not having it anymore. His eyes are red right now. Are we seeing this? And to be quite honest, keep those fucking red eyes. I'm begging you. He looks so fucking hot when he has those red eyes.
Come on, Pylon. Enlighten us quickly.
I'll ask CAIN's opinion. Ooh. To be quite honest, can I do that? I'll ask CAIN's opinion. CAIN, what do you think? Did Romanov want to summon him? his his eyebrows. I'm intrigued to know what's gonna happen.
You said that Romanov stole the book from the order. Think about who gave it to them.
The original demon.
Not necessarily him. From heaven. It somehow ended up on Earth, and from that moment the initiates learned about the existence of immortal creatures. Who else should occultists worship if not the original demon?
There was silence in the office. Some of us were pondering whether we could trust the immortal. Some were trying to imagine what an original demon might look like. And some were trying to understand who in their right mind would want to summon such an ancient and terrible power. Those who are craving power. Y'all, I don't even know how those people are called or what they call themselves. But there are people that are only interested in power. Like, they don't care about people. They don't care about succeeding in anything in life. They're just thirsty for power. And usually what's craving them is that they are insanely self-centered and arrogant, and they have the feeling that they own the place. So considering the fact that they own the place, they should actually have the power to make everyone submit to them in their place, you know, like around them. And if they can't, they feel like if they have more power, then they could get the power to tell all of the other people to shove it. Could not be me. The doors on the first floor opened, and Lubia's joyful voice was heard immediately. "Oh, Boris is here! My child!" We heard someone's footsteps on the stairs, and soon Lester entered the office holding Boris.
What is the strange noise downstairs?
Oh my gosh, he's still with that, y'all. Why couldn't we just bandage him ourselves? Like, bring him to a hospital, maybe? Are we forgetting that this bitch actually saved our lives? And we actually just leaving this man bleeding, not even taking care of this man's wounds. We leave this man out there bleeding, and this man waiting for Livia to finally not be scared anymore.
It seems Libya decided to check on the kitchen and feed everyone who's hungry.
We have enough of our own food.
Oh, shut up and be grateful, bitch. Whereas Tosa was thickly bandaged, which meant he couldn't take a full breath without struggling. Although he tried not to show that it was hard for him to be there, even Dimitri decided to be softer, showing respect for his stamina and courage.
But it won't be for nothing.
With the arrival of Boris and Lesta, there were too many people in the office. Moving between the shelves was already difficult, but was now almost impossible.
Kira, you can help downstairs.
Thank you for sending one bitch away.
Libya will definitely need assistance. CAIN Pylon changed the guards near the forest.
No! Not the most gorgeous ones. Not the most acceptable ones. Y'all, he actually sent the acceptable ones away. I cannot deal with this man's bullshit. Why don't you take all the stroll? Like, let Anna take a dog bag and let her take you on a walk. Let her take you on a stroll, son. Why did he have to? Why do CAIN and Pylon need to leave? Kira's lips curled with displeasure, but she left the office, following the angel and demon without saying a word. I fucking hate Dimitri even more now. Boris pulled away from Lesta and leaned against the wall near the passage, trying once again not to move.
So this is the hidden room your soldier was talking about. Did you find anything interesting here?
An old portrait in a diary, and a bunch of books for every taste.
You chose your words very carefully, but I know that my grandfather had specific tastes. I'm sure everything here is filled with fairy tales about demons.
Your grandfather? How long did he live?
He's like your grandfather, old. You know how long it took. You know. When was the state even built, y'all? I know it's been a while, but how long has it been?
He had a long life, but he left this world almost immediately after my birth. and he came here at a very young age, having inherited substantial capital. And you didn't suspect he'd have a secret room, did you? I never had a clue. If you hadn't told me that it used to be hidden, I would have thought that it had always been here.
Boris took a breath and tried to lean over his other leg. Even an ordinary conversation was torture for him. My son! My poor baby! I wanted to offer him help, but for some reason I was afraid to offend him with such care. Judging by his words, Boris is definitely not a frequent visitor to the estate. Boris, are you sure you're the owner of the estate? Damn! How rarely do you come here? To be honest,
I didn't want to say this, but since the circumstances have developed this way, frankly, I can't stand being here. This estate is a huge crypt for me.
Why? Does it remind you of people you used to love and now aren't here anymore, maybe?
I wasn't even a year old when my whole family was infected.
Damn! His entire family!
One by one, the disease took them all. The only thing that saved me was that I was with Livia at the hunting estate at that time. Sorry, I try not to come around here.
Oh, and your grandfather? Did he also die of the illness? Boris looked at me in surprise. He seemed amazed at my genuine interest in his family history. To be quite honest, I don't know if I would feel offended by that or not. Because if I truly had a good relationship with my grandfather, I mean, we know he don't, but in general, I think, like, you can tell me how you feel about this. In my eyes, there are topics you don't talk about, okay? Unless the person talks about it themselves. I would never go ahead and be like, how often do you come here? Like, are you that busy that you can't visit your family home? Like, do you even have any idea about what's going on around you? Don't you miss your family? Have they actually all been affected? Are you all alone? Like, there are those these questions, y'all. Are we hearing those questions that I just made? Like, I would never ask that. I would hit myself before I would do that, because that's so insensitive. I have no idea how the relationship between someone and their family is, and if they actually were close to them, then it hits even more to ask a question like that.
We don't know exactly. On the same day that the others fell ill, he didn't return from a hunting trip. His legs were weak, but the old man was brave. Maybe the disease knocked him down right in the forest. Is this important?
No, I was just curious how the founder of an entire city passed away. There were sounds of light bickering from below, then the clink of dishes. What are they doing downstairs? At first, only Anna went to investigate, but soon Dimitri also had to go down. One of the soldiers wasn't getting along with the others. Left alone with Boris and Lester, I didn't know what to say at first.
Could you show me that portrait? I'm curious what my grandfather looked like.
A lot like you. Lester wanting to help, headed toward the painting, but I suddenly stopped up decisively. Lester, I think I can handle this on my own. Thank you.
Are you sure?
The sound of an argument came from the kitchen again. Son, I think you need it downstairs more than anything else.
Then I'll go to check, see if they need help down there, and be right back.
All right, son. I nodded and the soldier hurriedly disappeared into the passage. After watching him go, Boris turned to me and smiled warmly.
So we're left alone.
I'll get the portrait. Despite the impressive size of the canvas, the painting turned out to be rather lightweight. The man came closer to the light and leaned on the window frame. I carried the painting to Boris, then I supported it from behind.
Do you think we look similar?
Yes. His gaze focused on the face of the young man in the portrait. Yes, very much. Only your features seem gentler and warmer. She's like, you are way more kind than your grandfather. That man in the portrait looks reckless.
Livia says that's exactly what he was like, which is why she fell head over heels for him as a young woman.
Damn! Y'all, to be quite honest, I could never tell that to my boss. Especially considering the fact he literally looks like his grandfather.
So don't show her this picture. I don't want to spend the next few months hearing about how great my grandfather was.
You look just like him, son. Seeing you in front of her is a nice reminder. Boris' words made me smile involuntarily, and judging by his interested glance, he noticed it.
Have you been after that night?
I thought about it as I ran my finger along the carved patterns on the frame. I don't know. I haven't given the attack that much thought. This isn't the first disappearance, or even the first murder in the squad. And I only joined the squad just a few. I froze realizing that I'd said too much. And I'm just a lab tech here. I go there, they tell me to go. Boris extended his hand and touched the frame. He put it against the wall, leaving me standing in front of him with nothing between us. Huh? Oh my god, stop! He a love interest now.
You're not from the squad, right? You don't have a soldier stance and your movements are too light and hesitant. You don't have to answer. Be who you feel safe to be.
I love him. I fucking love him. He literally is like this ray of sunshine that we need in this dark bitch-ass hellhole that we found ourselves in. We both felt silent. I looked away, but Boris, in contrast, continued to look directly and openly at me. How's your injury? Don't you need to rest now?
Lying there bleeding wasn't the most fun thing to do, but the wound was stitched up, so it will heal someday.
It looks like I asked for you to be called out here for nothing. There was no need to force a person in your condition to strain themselves.
Strain?
Boris laughed quietly and his eyes sparkled.
Coming to this state today didn't feel unbearable. Surprisingly, I almost ran here.
Were you that interested in seeing the hidden office? He was interested in seeing you.
Yes, I really wanted to see it as soon as possible.
You and Boris understand each other well? Y'all, I'm playing again. I'm playing again. But I know that y'all love it. Well, here it is in front of you. Do you want to take a look around?
No, I already saw everything I wanted.
You. He just wanted to see us. I fucking love Boris. Kissed this man's feet. Boris tilted his head to the side as if deciding whether to voice the thoughts that excited him.
You know, when I'm at the estate for too long, sometimes I imagine their voices. Distant laughter, conversations emerging from the depths of my memory.
Are you talking about your family?
Yes, it makes it even harder to be here. I wouldn't like to start believing in demons like my grandfather.
I'm afraid it's too late. They are already among us. Footsteps sounded on the second floor a couple of seconds later, and I looked into the office.
We'll be first part of the squad to get creative and prepare a decent human lunch. You're invited to eat with the others. Let's go.
Before going into the hall with everyone, I went to my room to clean myself up a bit. I washed my face and combed my hair again. Okay. Oui. You know what? I like this. Then I changed into clean clothes before going out into the hall. Oui. Okay. Oh, y'all. This or this? You know what? Let me be the it girl. I'm the it girl now. The delicious scent of a simple stew spread around the living room. Squad members sat in the corners sipping the rich broth with gusto. Usually everyone ate in their rooms or right there on the sofas. The dining room was very drafty and there was no point in trying to warm it up. That was why it was always empty.
Here, have some. What do you want?
Ooh. Nope. I'm going with the stew, thank you. Palin and CAIN were in the hall and the rest were already seated, leaving only 3 empty chairs. I'll sit with Ania. Y'all, I fucking hate my life. Y'all, this is literally a decision between bad, awful, and hell to the no. But you know what? Like, Ania is a huge ass bitch, but she's the only immortal that we have here. But you know what? I like Lista. He's the one that least annoys me. Like, Ania needs to change her bitch ass attitude if she wants me to spend time with her. Sitting down in an empty seat next to the soldier, I silently began to eat.
Have you been up all night?
Huh? What are you talking about?
You made some noise earlier this morning, and you've got dark circles under your eyes.
Well, at least I got some results.
Yes, you and the seated office are the only thing the squad talks about.
You're welcome. Setting aside his spoon, Lisa drank the rest of the broth directly from the bowl. Then he winked at me and disappeared into the hallway after thanking Livia. Okay, Lisa. Please don't kill him. As soon as this place next to me was empty, Greg appeared. Y'all, I'm so sorry. I can't help but to show the displeasure I feel. A smile played on his lips, almost as bright as the day we first met. And mine dropped immediately. I don't think he's forgotten about Nick and Noah. He's trying to bring himself back to life. Greg turned to me to say something, then suddenly fell silent and looked away. Goodbye. As I continued to eat, he simply sat next to me, as if he wanted to keep me company but wasn't sure whether I needed it. Throughout, he nervously bounced his leg. What is it?
I wanted to talk to you about something.
Greg glanced at the squad and pursed his lips, putting my dish down. I squinted. What is it?
I'd like to clear something up, but I'm not sure if you want to dive into this again.
That depends. What you want to talk about, Greg? You can start and then we'll see. Greg leaned back and shifted closer to me, speaking in a low voice. I have the feeling that this is what... I think it was Park Drea that said it. Or was it... No, I think it was Angelica. One of my favorite subscribers. She said that he will apologize if we pick a romantic option. I think that's that, right? Greg leaned back and shifted closer to me, speaking in a low voice.
Okay then, during the interrogation.
Realizing what he wanted to say, I abruptly cut him off. No need.
Please let me finish.
What you want to say about that, son? You're an awful human being. I don't want to. I'm not interested.
It's better if we talk about it.
Son, if you would have used your common sense, you wouldn't have to try to explain yourself. And besides, there is no reason for this bullshit. There was no reason for you to do something like this to another human being. You wouldn't want this to be done to you. You were willing to have someone be drugged and stripped of their right and freedom in order to satisfy your stupidity. Because you thought that we had something to do with your friend's disappearance. You can screw off.
It's up to you to decide what to do with that, what I say. I won't push.
Take a deep breath. I allowed him to continue.
I can't imagine what all of that looked like from the outside.
Oh, baby. Y'all, you know what? I said so much in this interrogation scene. I'm gonna keep quiet right now.
And I don't even want to think about how you might have felt. It was unpleasant to watch you in that chair. I know that Anna wouldn't hurt you, but I still couldn't come to terms with it. By the end, I was getting nervous because she kept asking questions about the family, and we were wasting time. There's no specific reason why we did it.
Y'all, the more he explains, the more I want to strangle his I want to strangle him. The more he talks, the more I want to strangle him. There is no specific reason to actually torture someone. Are you fucking serious? not even wanting to admit why he did what he did. He cancelled.
But then what was the point? Why start all this and hurt you if we couldn't even clear you of suspicion? We only needed one answer and time was running out. Just hearing "it's not my fault" was enough. But instead of that, we unceremoniously dug into your past.
It's so easy to find excuses for everything. Even saying all this, Greg exuded confidence and lightness. Next to him, it seemed that the world would never collapse and there was a solution to every problem. That brightened up the difficult stay in cold Rotkov a little. It also reminded me of summers in North Carolina. My least favorite time of year started to seem not so bad.
Simone, I'm sorry.
Greg has replayed the moment in his head more than once and is sorry that he hurt you. I silently shrugged without giving a clear answer. I can't forgive, but I can't let go and forget. You know what? That's accurate. What I would do. I could be fine with it sooner or later, but I sure as hell will not trust you again. Like, babe, the ship has sunk and sailed a long time ago. A soldier sitting close by stood up and walked to the other end of the room. We were now alone in the part of the hall. Dimitri was talking with Anna and Lista by the fireplace. The rest gathered in a small group around Boris, who was passionately telling some stories. I loved this man with a passion. No longer afraid of being hurt, Greg spoke louder.
I'm part of the squad. I chose to be with these people, and I must follow orders. But you don't strike me as some great evil. You've been through just as many trials, and we don't even know what kind of hell you had to go through. I don't want to go against the team, but I can't help you in my own ways. Be your safety net. The general can be harsh sometimes.
He fell silent.
Say something.
What do you want me to say? You asked me about the research back then. Was that what the general wanted? Lowering his head, Greg looked at his own hands with a kind of empty, detached look.
No. I shouldn't have asked about it, but knowing now that you're the only person who was there.
He clenched his fists and shook his head.
I behaved badly. I'm not that proud of the fact that I snapped back then.
Why is it so important for you to know what happened at the base? Nobody asks me about it more than you.
I haven't told anyone about this, but since we rematched through your soul, it's only fair that I give you a glimpse of mine.
Y'all, I'm conflicted. Like I said, when I picked the choice when I still had to pay for them, I have conflicting feelings for Greg. I have conflicting feelings. I understand in parts how he is feeling. I did the analysis because I wanted to give some insight on how he must be feeling and why he did what he did. But it's still fucked up what he did. And I don't think I can forgive that because in my eyes, it's forgive and forget. Okay? So even if I don't forgive you, I could still tolerate your presence. Okay? But if I forgive you, then it also means that I will forget. As in move on from what happened and give you another chance. And I can do that because what they did was fucked up. He seems to have a good mindset now, and he seems to realize that what he has done was fucked up. And from one side, I appreciate what he just said, considering the fact that we reminisced in your memories and made you relive one of the most horrible moments of your life. It's only fair that you get to see what it looks like in my soul. I would have to say, surprise me, Greg, because to a specific degree, I appreciate what he's doing right now. Greg sighed and throwing his head back, ran his hand over his dreadlocks, pulling them apart.
I had a sister, stepsister. She was several years older than me.
Had. That's the end of the story.
Before the disaster even began, she got some kind of governor internship at the science center. They gathered the most talented people and said that being there would be great for their future careers. They took their phones away and moved them to a closed facility. We saw Emma only once that year. One day she came to us looking haggard and the older than her years. The sparkle in her eyes was gone. She hardly reacted to a thing and didn't want to talk about anything. She wasn't the same person I knew. I swore seeing her empty eyes was scarier than any of the abominations. I crossed my arms over my chest. For some reason I wanted to close myself off and hide, even if I understood that I couldn't escape whatever life threw at me. Then she laughed again, and at first everything was quiet, until she called from somewhere and said that she had submitted her resignation. We were glad that she finally saw the light, but Emma never contacted us again. You found out information about Greg's sister. I tried to find out what kind of research center it was, but I had no luck. And after the rift, I saw recruitment and calling up volunteers from admin. Its logo, the same as Siberia's, was on my sister's badge. She definitely worked at the base.
Okay, let me be far-fetched. We were talking about a woman that was with us at the base, and that woman also knows Dimitri. Is she Greg's sister? She's the only one we know.
But neither Donovan nor Dimitri want to talk about the scientists we're doing. Maybe my sister was able to escape. If everyone else wants to stay silent, I'll get the truth myself.
What were you looking for in the forest alone?
I tried to see if there was a place where the ground wasn't frozen. Several tunnels were supposed to lead from the base.
Greg noticed that the general was about to leave, and he hurried to go up, as if he was afraid to miss his opportunity to talk to him. The dog tag we found fell out of his pocket and flew to my feet after hitting the tile loudly.
I completely forgot about that.
Okay. Nodding gratefully, Greg raised the tag's chain above his head and shouted to the whole hall.
Guys, has anyone lost the tag? I found one.
The soldiers looked back at him, nervously patting the tags under their jackets.
No. Why does it look like that? Was it unlucky to be in your back pocket?
Maybe it's Nix or Noah's. Without reacting to the playful squabbling of his subordinates, Dimitri came closer and took the dog tag, turning it over in his hands.
The metal and the craving.
The metal and the craving. They're fugitives from the old CAIN. They haven't produced these for a long time. It wasn't one of our people who lost it. Bring me a pair of pliers.
One of the soldiers followed the general's order. Holding each of the sides, Dimitri used the tool to pull the metal in different directions. Eventually, the dog tag straightened out, brushing away the dirt stuck between the letters. The general read the inscription and frowned.
Boris, don't take this rudeness, but I like to talk with my squad without outsiders. Greg, find someone who can take him and Libya back.
No problem.
While Boris and Libya were getting ready, the soldiers sat quietly, realizing that the general's sudden change in mood hardly meant good news. Already at the door, Boris smiled and waved at me. Oh. Libya carefully patted him on the back, and the guests disappeared from sight. The soldier who volunteered to accompany them closed the door of the estate behind him.
This tag belonged to Joseph R. Judging by the markings, he served at Siberia before the cataclysm.
Given that the tag was found near the strange ruins, Joseph's fate could be quite tragic. Joseph could have gotten lost. Something would have happened to Joseph there. Something could have happened to him. He could have fallen off a cliff like me, but wasn't as lucky. Maybe he did actually get trapped in that bear trap. Oh god.
Is this the same Joseph? What are we talking about? Is he some kind of big shot?
An ordinary soldier. The base sent him to Rotkev to find something, but he disappeared. None of the locals have answered whether he ever came to the city or what he was looking for.
We could have asked Boris.
No, we couldn't. If there is a tag, there must be other traces. We can handle it on our own.
Y'all, like, this man is actually so up in his head that he can't see that other people could actually help him. If he can't control the people around him, he feels like he's losing control, and that means he's losing control over the situation. This man is a psycho.
And Boris will either lie or be unaware. He could have said something long ago if he knew about it.
Y'all, Boris is just a smart one. He says, I'm keeping my mouth shut. I'm not giving you any other advantages over me.
Greg, where did you get it from? I picked it up in the woods while walking through the area.
I found the hidden stash in the forest, right? Greg didn't tell him about me, as agreed. There was also a symbol in the box, but I forgot about it. Disregarding the surprised looks of the squad, I rushed to my room and returned with my notebook.
By the way, we never talked about my little loss.
And what was your loss, bitch? The same symbol was drawn on the torn page, as well as the bark of the tree near the lockbox we had found in the forest. That symbol had been drawn on the hip of Romanov's sketch of a man, and the first symbol we found was near the left hand of the sketched man. That was the bone that was missing from the skeleton in the monk's grave. By asking CAIN for help earlier, you learn valuable information. Okay. CAIN said that signs can be used to summon evil spirits. To achieve this, different sacrifices are presented to different demons. In this case, it looks as if the offerings are body parts. If you imagine that the monk was killed where we found the first symbol, then it makes sense. The blood on the snow was relatively fresh. They cut off a limb there and later buried the remains in the cemetery. Well, I would have to say at least he didn't feel anything if he was dead already. If the symbol is left at the site of a killing, then under the hidden stash we should find another corpse. Joseph's bones. Closing the notebook, I raised my voice, interrupting Dimitri's conversation with the others. We say we are the main bitch here. We should look at the place where Greg found the tag. I'm pretty sure that's where we'll find Joseph. Or rather, what's left of him. Before heading into the depths of the forest, Anna sorted out the last couple of boxes and pulled out the coats left in them. Choose an outfit. Okay. Okay. Y'all, this actually looks very stylish, but I don't think it would be that practical. This actually reminds me of like one of those... Not to offend anyone, if anyone should feel offended, I don't mean anything by this. I just saw it a lot in TV where like those very wealthy English or more like British ladies would go for brunch somewhere and they would wear an outfit like this. Siberia uniform, okay. I don't... God, you know what? Let's go with stylish because that would be me, even though it's not very practical. Only part of the squad headed into the forest. The general and Greg led the group. CAIN flew ahead, checking for abominations, while Anna, Lister, and I brought up the rear. Greg was the best at handling the map, but to be on the safe side, Anna helped him find the path. Lister was last and was mostly silent, occasionally turning around and checking the surroundings. My task was to identify new symbols, if any were found.
Simona, wait for me. Any farther and I'll be stuck in one of these snowdrifts forever.
Y'all, I'm not gonna say what I thought I was about to say. Lucky me then. Push her into it. God damn it. You can lean on my arm, just don't hang on it.
Thank you. I should have left the laboratory more often and gone to training.
Well, karma, bitch.
Greg, what were you doing here? This territory was assigned to the Immortals for flight civilians.
I lost my way. These forests are killing me.
You could have come up with something better. All the maps are imprinted on your brain.
Having reached the place, we examined the entire area inside and out, but didn't find anything suspicious.
At least I get the crowbar. We'll warm the soil and dig. It's going to get dark soon, so let's hurry up.
We need to make a fire first. I'll impact the snow and collect brainwood. I'll take a knife and cut some wood chips. You know what? I'll compact the snow and collect brushwood. Why not? Let me move away from all those bitches. Having marked the place and trampled it thoroughly, I collected dry branches and piled them in a heap like a hut.
Great.
Anna pulled out a couple of dark ampoules and thin pieces of gauze from her backpack pocket. Placing the fabric like a nest on top of the brushwood, she broke one of the glass tips and dark powder poured from it. Smoke and sparks poured out of the nest, soon igniting a small flame. I'm sorry, but if we're making such a huge-ass loud noise, wouldn't it attract abominations? Or is it just with zombies like this that they immediately hear every slight difference in the area and they immediately walk towards the noises, and that's when they attack humans? I mean, the abominations are kind of viewed, in my eyes at least, the way they were being described by the author. It actually feels like there's kind of zombies, you know? Just with wings. What is that?
Iron-based powder. It ignites spontaneously upon contact with oxygen.
Sometime later. Okay. Ooh, the frozen ground barely gave way. We had to remove it in layers. First we warmed up a small area with a fire, then using a crowbar and a shovel we dug deeper until we hit another obstacle. Anna and I took care of the fire while the man handled the digging. That's men's work. Y'all, I can't. Like, women can dig too. Of course, like, this is not me saying it as a feminist, of course. But I think if we're all in this huge ass wilderness together, we all could get in contact with an abomination, with something that could threaten all of our lives. We should at least lay a hand, you know? Unless these men be talking like, no, you would be in the way. I mean, of course, like, if it's just a small hole, I don't see how 5 people could actually be that much of a help. It would be way too crowded, but still, we could help. At task they coped with surprisingly easily. Dimitri and Greg looked like it'd be easy for them to move a plane. Damn! Not to mention CAIN. The power of immortals is many times greater than the capabilities of any human.
Greg, what the hell is that? Don't worry, they won't attack on this area, but it's still better to hurry up and finish before dark.
We're almost done. Come here, you can see the bones.
Ah. Y'all, I'm so sorry. I'm always happy to see this fine-ass man.
We need to move the fire to them.
After another hour of warming them up, we managed to pull out the remains and a bundle of clothes from the ground. You know what I think is hilarious though? We said one sentence, I'm pretty sure Joseph's bones will be found there, and everyone immediately believed us, and everyone immediately went with us on this digging experience. But y'all, what is this story? Sometimes we're this huge ass motherfucking bitch, and sometimes we're nothing. You know? We're completely nothing. Like, we're always the reason that everything horrible happens, and sometimes we're kind of like the leader. What is this? We said one thing and everyone immediately was like, let's go on patrol, let's go dig up this grave. What? We also found a battered man's briefcase that had been hastily stuffed alongside them.
Is missing a femur. Is someone at risk of building a local Frankenstein?
Simona was right.
I'm always right.
What about the clothes? Is there anything left, or are those just rags?
Nothing interesting. The briefcase is empty. Apparently they took out everything before throwing it into the grave.
But why would you throw a briefcase into a grave?
Give it here.
Anna patted the briefcase several times, then took out a knife and made a cut on the worn-out upholstery. What are you doing?
My father once had an old-school briefcase just like this. He hid cigarettes in a secret pocket, which caused it to tear constantly, and I had to stitch it up. It's used to hide documents that no one should know about. If you open the pocket in the wrong place, you'll pierce an ink layer, and all the contents will be ruined. Each briefcase was unique, but I altered my father's and filled it with ink so many times that I could have found a loophole even with my eyes closed.
Dimitri grinned and stood next to her.
And is there something left inside?
Carefully removing the top layer, Anna took out several crumpled sheets. Not believing our own luck, we looked at each other with excitement. Okay. File number 16.
If only everything were always this simple.
Again. I fucking love this man. Y'all, he's just a voice of reason. I'm sorry. If everything would be that easy. Inside were old reports and several handwritten notes. Judging by the records, once again, everything came down to the Book of the Apocalypse. In light of recent events, it seemed too in demand for a mysterious ancient tome.
Judging by the papers, the base, at the request of the Order, had been searching for lost books for many years, and when they finally managed to get on its trail, several agents were sent to Siberia to return it. Apparently Joseph R. was less fortunate than the others. He got too close to the ants and paid for it with his life. If Boris' grandfather stole the book, then did he kill Joseph to silence him?
You said it yourself, that Joseph is missing a bone. If he was sacrificed for a ritual, it's not a given that Romanov was behind it. Moreover, the notes that Simona found in the morning spoke about the strange behavior of monks and locals. He wasn't the only one who should have kept secrets. Although, it all comes down to his estate.
I think it's too early to draw a conclusion. Joseph was careless and he paid for it. It could have been an accident. There is never an accident, y'all. I never believe in coincidences. I always believe that people have a pattern and a reason for doing bullshit. So, I do believe from one side it's too early to draw conclusions because we don't have that much information. But as someone that has been looking through Joseph R.'s documents for such a huge ass amount of time, we could actually be like this, that he paid for it. If he was too careless, maybe not, but maybe his opponents were insanely clever and they perhaps were watching over him like a hawk, and sooner or later he slipped up. So I believe he paid with his life because no matter what, he was used for a sacrifice. He was sacrificed in a ritual. So it could be he still paid with his life. The Book of the Apocalypse was at stake. If he was sure he found a trail, why didn't he call for backup? Arrogance was his undoing. Anna nodded and continued to look through the papers. I thought that there were enough discoveries for the day, but in fact we had only just gotten the biggest one.
And one of these tips given to Joseph that described the book. 314 pages are mentioned. Should I read its description further, or is there no point to it?
That can't be. I studied the book over 100 times. It's exactly 310 pages. There is no damage to the binding. The pages can't be removed without leaving a trace.
And yet someone did. What a surprise.
Y'all, I just love him. He always feels the need to add something to everything that's being said. I love him. Stunned, I took the sheet to reread everything again with my own eyes. Based on data Joseph discovered... Stunned, I took the sheet to reread everything again with my own eyes. Based on the data Joseph received, the current version of the book was missing 2 spreads, 4 pages. But what's the point? I need to think about how this could be. Maybe so no one could read the book, making it useless? Then it would make sense to remove any pages that could have clues to translating the rest of it. I suddenly remembered a section that seemed to lack the key to the code. Now it suddenly made sense. I think I know that they got from the book. Someone pulled out the pages because without them it's impossible to translate the second part.
Great. We solved one mystery and immediately got a new one, even more difficult than the previous one.
Anyone could have taken pages. After the order, the book probably made it a whole bunch of places before reaching the base.
Given that it suddenly ended up in my friend's hands, that was definitely the case.
Although we still have one clue. Look.
Turning over the last sheet, Anna pointed to a lonely handwritten line. The monks here are hiding something. I have to find out what. Huh. Everyone walked back in silence. Having buried the bones and the evidence of our fire in a hole, the place regained its former appearance. We were returning at task. Greg led us back, with Anna walking next to him, helping him light the way. CAIN flew high in the skies, sometimes descending to the very tops of our heads to give directions. Dimitri and I walked almost side by side. Y'all, I'm so sorry. I don't want this man around me. He's breathing too close near my aura. The general was carrying most of the equipment, but despite the heavy weight, he was walking just as fast as I was. At least he got something out of his bitch-ass attitude. As before Lester came last, he kept his pistol at the ready in case the squad needed protection. The spruce trees loomed over us, and the surrounding forest was gloomy. I imagined the hungry faces of wolves peeking out from the shadowy spaces between the trees. Well...
Don't be afraid. They kill abominations just like we do. We're on the same side.
Is this man trying to reassure us? Y'all, I can't. No, he needs to die. No. He's such a bitch ass. Y'all. There are moments where I actually have the feeling that he's just a complex character. He could have gone through a lot. But like I said, it does not explain his bitch ass attitude, always blaming us, always doing everything. He thinks not caring if other people have to pay with their lives for it. He needs to go. He needs to go. The general carried the backpacks with the equipment in both hands. The largest one rested on his shoulder. With some effort, he adjusted the last one, trying to make it more comfortable. In the darkness, a metal pendant flashed, dangling in the wind over his jacket. It was the dog tag that usually hung under his clothes. It's the same shape and color as Joseph's. Strange. Were they familiar? I think I should ask Dimitri for details. Unobservably? Is this a romantic choice? I don't think so, because there's no hint to it. So I'm gonna ask the shit out of you. If it's an old model, does that mean Dimitri has been in the service for a long time? Or is it something else? No, I said that the squad is made up of ordinary people.
That's almost true. Many of us were doing something completely different before the cataclysm.
What about you? Or am I not supposed to know?
You can try to guess.
Uh-huh. A police officer, coach, military. Oh, well, we will look at that. No, to be quite honest, I would have guessed military as well because of the way I'm making him sound. Military.
That was too easy.
Dimitri's appearance speak for itself, right? More his bitch-ass attitude. Donovan wouldn't let a random person be a general.
Yes, you'd rather take this post yourself. Why did you suddenly ask about this?
Your dog tag is out. The general looked at his collar in surprise but didn't stop. He tried to untangle the chain, but the crowbar sticking out of the backpack he was holding got in the way.
Can you help me?
With what? Lisa was walking at a distance, so we had a little time before the soldier caught up with us. Coming closer to Dimitri. No! No! Y'all, I don't want to read the scene. What did I get myself into? I didn't know I shouldn't have picked the option. I thought maybe if we just take a diamond choice, we get to ask the shit out of him, considering the fact he's always asking the shit out of us and demanding to know every single bullshit. So I thought now it's our time to ask the shit out of him. But no, it's a romantic choice. Y'all, I just kicked myself in the ass. I pulled out the part of the pendant that was stuck in the clasp.
Hide it under my coat.
I accidentally saw the letters. The name didn't belong to the general. Pavel?
Faster.
After hastily tucking the chain under the general's clothes, I pulled away and we moved on. Why is he wearing someone else's tag? It belonged to someone he cared about, perhaps.
Did you see it?
Oh! Y'all, I'm too good. The way he... Y'all, I fucking hate myself for feeling bad for this man's pain. I hate myself so much for it. Considering the fact he never cared about ours, but I'm just... Y'all, I don't want to... I'm trying to actually explain myself why I feel bad. Y'all, I shouldn't, considering the fact this man is such a huge-ass bitch. But I don't want anyone to suffer, because I know what it feels like to be literally at your wits' ends with everything, with life and with your psychological health as well. You being at your wits' ends, not knowing what to do and having the feeling that death is the only way out. That's one of the darkest and most vulnerable moments you can find yourself in. And I don't want anyone to ever go through any sort of pain, because I feel that life sucks enough as it is. We won't be capable to control life. We only can control our actions and our behavior towards certain events. That's the only thing we can do. We can't control life. And life sometimes has a funny way of showing us or teaching us. So if he actually lost someone he truly cared about, that's the way I'm seeing it. He lost someone he truly cared about, and that pendant perhaps was the only thing left. So he decided to wear it. Because that's like a sentimental value for him. Like, he does not deserve to be in my good graces after the bullshit he pulled, but like I said, I don't wish anyone to suffer. So I feel bad for him. Y'all, what can I do? Like, the comment section will be wild.
Did you see it? Your face speaks for itself.
Was it someone close to you?
A friend.
Perhaps it's a keepsake. Sentimental value. We fell silent. We walked side by side in footsteps of Greg and Anna. There was a high wall of untouched snow between our separate paths. Suddenly the general spoke again.
He got infected.
What did I say? And what happened to him then?
I had to kill him. Oh!
Okay, y'all. I need to add my few cents in here as well. If you know a person, and a person is very pure-hearted, like they all have like this attitude towards them, and they're like, if it would come down to the point where I actually lose control over myself and I would turn into such an abomination, I don't want to be the reason of anyone's grief or pain. So if it ever should come down to this, if I should ever turn into that, please take me out of my misery before I cause pain. So if it was something like this, I kind of feel bad for him because it's still a person that he truly cared about. Like I said, not trying to explain this man's bitch-ass attitude, and he still needs to go. But I'm trying to like give it a different perspective from Dimitri's character. If that was actually a thing, then I feel sorry for him, because you should never ever feel forced to kill someone because you have no idea what that does to you. Like, the person already lost their mind, they're already done for. So it's not like they would actually know if you kill them or not. But you, as a reasonable person or someone that truly care about someone, you want to carry out kind of like their last wish, you know? It was what they wanted. And if you truly care about someone, even if it goes against everything you believe in or everything that you would want to do, you respect them and their decision. So you're like, I have to do it because I promised them. But you on your own will have to carry out the darkness, you know, that killing did to you. Dimitri fell silent, and I realized that he wouldn't say anything more. Anna and Greg were far ahead, and Lisa was far behind. It almost seemed like we were walking completely alone in the dark forest, and if something happened, we could only count on each other. Great. Where can I die? Killing a friend with your own hands, I think that must hurt. A lot. Suddenly I wanted to know what Dimitri was like before all hell had broken loose, and remember what I was like. What the hell? Oh god, he fine though. He fine though. Son, you should have revised your bitch ass attitude. You fine, but it does not save you. Previously, when I met someone, I thought about how strange it was that fate decided to bring us together. After all, we were very different. We didn't fit into each other's lives at all. Then I began to imagine how my life would have changed if I had met that person earlier, or if we ran into each other on the street. Would we just pass on by? Would we take notice of each other? Too different with no common interests and busy with our own lives. We would have locked eyes only for a second and moved on, forgetting about the fleeting meeting forever, and only a terrible catastrophe could make us not just look but see. Wow. His eyes, though. God damn. If we had met earlier, how would everything have turned out? In a world where Dimitri was just a passerby and I was an ordinary woman, disregarding time, positions, and events, would we be on the same side? You are not on the same side here. Out of thousands of scenarios, you chose the one where you eventually met. Great. God damn it. Dimitri's quiet voice pulled me out of my thoughts. Looking somewhere ahead, he suddenly spoke.
It would be sad to lose one's humanity while hunting monsters, to become a monster in the eyes of others.
Son, you chose this path yourself. Like I said, I get it, and to a specific degree, when I was at my lowest, I would curse people out in my mind, though. I have that opinion. No matter how much pain I'm in, others have no business with it. They have nothing to do with it. Why would I punish someone else when they have nothing to do with my psychological pain? They did nothing to contribute to the fact that I'm in that much pain. Why should I let it out on them?
I hope I haven't crossed that line yet.
The general's last line sounded like a half question, half statement, posed either to me or to himself. Sonny, if you're asking me... Y'all, I never want to call someone a monster, but he's not really a human either in my eyes, because what he did to us was inhuman. And like I said, desperate times call for desperate measures, and I also wrote it in the comments section, like, my friend Park Drea in the comments section, she agreed with me on that one. We are willing to do a lot of things. We're willing to go to extremes in order to protect and take care of the people we love. Yes, but in order to get answers to resolve to those drastic measures, no. Do I think he's a monster though? I don't think I'm the kind of person to actually consider someone a monster. Okay? So from that point of view, I don't think I can call him a monster. Because in general, I don't see anyone a monster, but he's just not a good person. Dot. In my eyes, he's just not a good person. Is he a monster? No. Because in my eyes, a monster is someone that doesn't have any humanity left in them. And yes, I did say he doesn't have humanity, but he shows sometimes like those moments where you see that he's reasonable, then on the other side he's not. So like in my eyes, it kind of shows like a bipolar disorder, but let's ignore that. In my eyes, everyone that shows that they are willing to change or that they're willing to heal, they're worthy of being saved. He right now is in such a huge ass darkness that he doesn't see the damage that he's causing in other people. And that's his own fault. Because he chose this path. But on the other side, sometimes we don't really have the strength or the chance to heal. Because we need to take upon the responsibilities that fall upon us, whether we choose them or not. And it can turn us bitter and frustrated and desperate because we know we need to heal, but we can't, so we need to fight our psychological trauma or psychological pain, and then we turn into this. So, like I said, do I see him as a monster? No, I don't. Do I see him as a good person? No, I don't. He would need to show something completely different, and I don't think he's the person for that. First off, he would need to apologize, and second off, he would need to see us as an equal. And that's something he won't do. Especially like he gives off the vibes of military officer and not just him being a military soldier. So, and a military officer is the one that would command others. And he would like, because of the fact that he would command others, he would be above them. At least in his eyes. And that's how he's behaving towards every single one in his squad. If he would want me to see him in a different light, he would need to do exactly those two things. And he won't. I don't fully grasp what he meant in the moment. I did. Don't worry, girl. It's fine. But someday, perhaps after seeing the whole picture, his words would take a new meaning. Y'all, maybe it's just me. Maybe because of all the bullshit I've been through in my short life. I'm extremely wiser and more mature than she is. Like, sometimes you need to know when to read between the lines, and apparently she can't. Or maybe she doesn't see the reason to, considering all the bullshit he pulled on her. We left the forest soon after that and reached the estate without any incidents. The rest of the squad was already waiting for us. Oh well. The soldiers were sitting by the fireplace in the living room and were animatedly talking about something. Not far from them, Kira sat wrapped in a blanket with a sleeping bag next to her. What a sight. Why did you bring all this here? I'm not going back to my room. Then sleep here. What do I care? The monster can still kill you here. Dimitri, having thrown off the backpacks with all the equipment, tiredly sat down on the steps right at the entrance.
From now on, we all sleep in the hall.
Excuse you. Each of the squad members looked at the general in surprise. But on the other side, if CAIN is here... Let me sleep next to him.
It's well heated, there are no barriers, and it's easy to escape. Besides, everyone will be able to see each other. We're all in full view.
A nice one. We're also easier to be killed. Anyway, we're killed. We're easier to be killed in numbers, right?
And we will all be on duty. So that happened to Amir doesn't repeat itself.
So we should bring our sleeping bags here.
Yes, and make room for the women by the fireplace. It's warmer there.
Huh? The women are allowed to be near the... Y'all, what did I say? He's sometimes pulling bullshit like this where I actually having a whiplash of this man's character. He's such a complex, bitch-ass character. To be quite honest, it's kind of cute that the author added like this kind of trauma and pain from his past in here. But too late. Too late, because she should have never included the scene with us being tortured in that chair. Sorry, said what I said. She ruined those 3 characters in my eyes because I can never move past that fact. Soon the hall was filled with colored mats scattered on the floor, making it difficult to walk from one corner of the room to the other. Lisa carried in 2 buckets of ice that had been shopped outside on the yard. He placed them by the fireplace and nodded to Anna. She took out several tablets from her pocket and threw them into the already melting ice. They hissed and gradually dissolved into water. This was the squad's method to filter the water collected for cooking. Lisa looked sadly at his sleeping spot.
A part of me was hoping that we brought these with us for no reason.
Then
musty pieces of fabric instead of huge beds. At what point did we take a wrong turn? Oh God, when did the first husband descend to earth? More precisely, horsewoman.
The cataclysm began with her. I heard what she did. What's the world? Oh. No. Death is the firstborn. So, it didn't. Wasn't the world destroyed by the cataclysm?
How do you think started them?
Mine is adaptability. Fine by me. The immortals also had to sleep in the hall, not because of the threat to their lives, but to remove possible suspicions against them and to protect others. Due to the size of their wings, they had to settle in the corners where there were fewer people. No! My child! Where's CAIN? Anya spread out her sleeping bag and tucked one wing under herself while covering herself with the other one. That's so cute.
It will go numb.
I don't need your concern.
Balan shrugged and went to his spot. Dimitri, Greg, and several other soldiers had already settled down against the opposite wall. Having covered their heads with blankets, they had long since fallen asleep. Although I have big doubts about the general actually getting some sleep, I got into the sleeping bag that used to belong to Nick. There were empty spaces for Kira and Anna nearby. Kira was sitting by the fireplace with Lesta and a couple of other soldiers. Anna went to boil water. Taking out my notebook from under my pillow, I peered at Romanov's sketched man and the symbols around him. The dim light cast by the fireplace painted everything in warm, sandy shades. I could tell the others about the monks I saw, but that would only cause unnecessary suspicion since I shouldn't have been in that part of the forest either. Besides, we'll have to visit the monastery anyway. First, I'll see how the monks and the squad behave. It's the fact she's submitting to the squad even though they did nothing to earn her loyalty. Taking a pen, I crossed out the symbol found near the ruins of the railway. Then the one that we saw near the lockbox. Only a couple of symbols remained uncrossed. The latest victims? Slamming the notebook shut, I shoved it under my pillow. The Book of the Apocalypse was hidden in the same place. We are living for that damn book. Laying on my side, I slowly drifted off to sleep. I could hear Lista's voice. He told stories from his past. Listen! Shifting shades from the fire danced across the soldier's face. He described his experience with a smile on his face and often chuckled quietly. Kira interrupted his story several times, which was why from the outside it might have seemed that two were arguing.
While you were living in your luxurious mansion, I lived in the barracks. I have a higher rank because I have more experience.
You could have lived there the whole time.
The military school gives out rooms in the city, at least after the first year. I could. Wanna bet?
Anna, who returned with a teapot, rolled her eyes.
Of course you could, because you're not like everyone else and everything about you is special.
I just love the shade! Please! I love the shade that they're throwing to each other. It always brings out happiness.
Fine, if you lose, I sleep by the fireplace. If you win, I'll take over your watch tomorrow. Let's find us a judge.
Lisa and Kira shook hands. Unsure of what was driving me, I stood up and walked to the fireplace. I can.
Great. Here's a third party. Who will start?
Kira raised her hand, pointing to herself.
My father insisted I live in the barracks throughout my training to toughen up my spirit.
I don't buy it.
I don't want to upset you, but your father's words are unlikely to affect the character written by the school director. Buy it. My father was the director of the school.
Really?
That's true. If Dimitri hadn't vouched for her, she would have served there for another 100 years.
So you know all this and let the argument go on.
Guilty as charged.
I love this. So Kira is sleeping by the fireplace.
Did the three of you conspire?
Me? Don't be getting me in the middle of this. The squad is getting more used to you. Uh-huh.
As a consolation, I can tell you Akira got punished for her tattoo.
That's a different story.
Give me all the dirt to me!
Anna, you weren't even there.
Soon the dialogue faded away and we all scattered to our sleeping bags. Where's CAIN? We saw Ania and Pylon, but we didn't see CAIN. Where's my man? Falling asleep between Anna and Kira. We're literally in the middle of Devil 1, Devil 2. God damn. I suddenly remembered my tiny green cell at the base. I remembered soaking my pillow with tears after thinking about home. I remembered home and fell asleep. In the middle of the night, I opened my eyes and learned new information I could easily have done without. Lisa was a relentless snorer. It was easy to find the source of the noise because the sleeping bag was right next to mine. But my attempt to fall asleep was unsuccessful. It was as if the sound was penetrating straight into my skull. Hashtag my mom. Me. Unable to bear it, I stood over him, hoping I'd have the strength to restrain myself and not strangle him. If I wake up Lester up, I can fall asleep before him. Something moved behind me.
Oh my gosh, Simona, you scared me.
Why? I'm in my sleeping bag. Seeing where I was looking, Anna spoke softer.
Just deal with it. He hasn't been breathing well since one of the murderers broke his nose.
Oh, wow.
If you wake him up, he won't be able to fall back to sleep and the rest of the night. And he still has to be on duty tomorrow. Better drag his sleeping bag away or use earplugs.
I looked around the room. CAIN was sitting in the corner. My man! I'm so sorry. So sorry. With his head thrown back against the wall, he gazed at an empty spot somewhere in the distance, apparently with no intention of going to bed. But more importantly, there was an empty spot next to him. Let me get up! Me! I guess I'll move my sleeping bag near CAIN. Me! Let me go to my man! I picked up my rolled sleeping bag and made my way to the far corner, stepping carefully over the sleeping squad members and stopping at the spot near CAIN. Oh my god, what is this man wearing?
I can move. I can sleep anyway.
No, stay! Why?
I'm on duty.
So what? So what? Let me hold your hand, like you can even pat my head if necessary. Yeah, it's fine. CAIN moved the sleeping bag and I was able to fit right into the corner. I was actually quieter there, which gave me a chance to sleep. I covered my head and had finally closed my eyes when I heard a light knock. Unobtrusive and soft like a melody, looking out from my hiding place, I watched CAIN's fingers flutter over the wooden table, barely touching it.
Sorry, am I worrying you? It's a habit.
Oh no, you do you! Yo, I'm such a wimp for CAIN. I'm such a simp for him. The rhythm that he drummed had a calming effect. If I closed my eyes, I could imagine how that melody would sound on a piano. Now you can continue. It sounds nice.
I like it too.
Oh, the soft
That's the first thing I learned to play properly.
You can play the piano? Y'all, soulmate. I did talk about my love for music, right?
The priest in charge of my upbringing was tired of slapping my hands when I kept making mistakes.
Did you study here on Earth?
Yes, at first I just played the organ in church.
All right, y'all, I forgot. I'm such... My mind ain't serving me good. He played, I think in the first or second episode, he played on the piano.
And when the teacher died, I replaced him.
How many years did he spend on Earth? CAIN opens up more to you. Oh.
Okay, go to sleep.
No, I want to watch you.
You won't get credit for being on duty with me anyway.
Haha. He says with his red eyes, this man in such a rush, y'all. He's such a desire. Tired from the day, I turned away and closed my eyes again. The angel no longer played the melody, but for some reason I heard it clearly in my head. The connection building up. Early in the morning, a small group went to the monastery. Apart from Dimitri, only Anna and I knew the language, so I had no choice whether to go or not. The more people who could interact with the locals, the better.
We'll go in together, and then we'll split up. Find the most complained ones, those who will be easy to get to talk. Don't ask about Joseph R. right away. Start a conversation about God, about the town, about anything.
The three of us gradually approached the monastery. Its depressing appearance hadn't changed at all since my trip to the archive.
This place looks so gloomy.
Oh, damn! Going beyond the arc that divided the ruins and the monks' territory, we saw a scene that was hardly intended for prying eyes. What are they doing? Not far from the monastery, right in the snow, sat a man with a naked torso. Yeah, they'd be smacking the shit out of him. Monks in black robes hunched around him like crows. One of them, without hiding his face, wielded a whip like a conductor. Oh, hell no! If you tell me that this is the man that was having sex with his partner, I swear to God I'm gonna fucking kill Abraham. The novice swung his hand and struck the man across his bare neck. Hell no! Because he was the one doing the sin too, and the fact that his smile dropped, the fact that he's sad, the fact that he's upset, means that this is the man. A pink stripe instantly appeared on his flesh and soon turned into a long scarlet path.
What are they doing? Is this a flogging? Wait, we don't know anything yet.
Girl, at this point, tell them. This is inhumane. Just like what they did to us.
Let's see what happens next without attracting attention.
The figure sitting in the snow trembled and turned toward his tormentor. What did I say? I ain't stupid, y'all. I can put things together. I am that good reading between the lines. I had to be. Fuck no. Let me go over there and whip Abraham. Let me whip this man to death. The rest of the monks watched the punishment with indifference. No grief, no sadness, no compassion. It was as if their silence and inaction they emphasized his guilt. Abraham raised the whip again and noticed that his hand was shaking. For he wasn't just a sadist, he was also a lover. I have no sympathy for him. No sympathy. Because this man is willing to whip someone that gave into love and desire with his partner while he was doing the same thing. This was a threesome. This wasn't just a love making between two lovers. This was a threesome. And he was involved. And he actually has the audacity to whip this man. He convicted the same crime. He should gain the same punishment. I would throw him under the bus for this. If I'm being punished for doing something that is against the rules of the monastery, I should deserve the same punishment. That's justice. And perhaps later that night he would lick the wounds he caused.
Are you sure we shouldn't interfere?
Let's watch. Let's not waste time. We don't have much of it anyway.
This isn't how I wanted to start a conversation with them. This ruins everything.
Dimitri rubbed the bridge of his nose and exhaled heavily. Can we just go over there and smack them all?
Alright, let's find out what's going on.
Thank you, Dimitri, for once that I'm on his side. The general moved forward decisively, Anna and I followed. Seeing the approach of strangers, Abram froze in indecision. Abram froze in indecision and then hastily lowered his hand with the whip, hiding it behind his robe.
What can I help? We wanted to talk with one of the monastery servants, but as we approached, we saw the strange scene. Why are you doing this to him?
Joseph's shoulders heaved either from quiet crying or from fear.
Mind your own business, General.
And watch you beat a man to death.
Period! Y'all, what is going on? Why am I living vigorously through the general right now? Nah, he a bitch! He a bitch! Simona, get this in your fucking skull. He a bitch! Y'all, I fucking hate myself. The second I see that someone can be saved, I try to find every single way to sympathize with someone because I want to help them, because I want to save them from their own torment. I hate myself for it. Anna stood nearby and glared sharply at Abram. It was clear how much she wanted to call him out and how hard it was for her to control her impulses.
This isn't punishment for apostasy, and by interrupting it, you forced this person to stay in the cold longer.
And what did he do? What offenses is worth of such punishment?
I repeat, General, leave. You're not welcome here.
And you're not welcome in my sight.
There must be some reasonable explanation for what is happening. Otherwise, I'll inadvertently think that you're threatening the squad and I'll have to take action.
Abram's nostrils flared with anger. Not as much as mine, bitch. Restraining himself, he muttered through his teeth.
He entered into a sinful relationship with one of the workers. But this has nothing to do with you, and there is no need to bother us anymore. Not all locals know your language. They can also think that you're threatening the monastery, and then they'd have to take action.
Abram nodded toward the wounded young Joseph.
Is that enough? Take him away.
Uh-huh. Several monks grabbed Joseph by the arms and dragged him to the monastery. Let me whip his ass. Dimitri took a step forward, but black cloak surrounded the general, blocking his path. Bitch, get away! Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a shadow within the stone passage on the side. Is this the girl? It turned out to be a nun, who was hiding behind a column spying on what was happening. Oh no, it was her. Noticing that I was watching her, the young woman gasped and quickly ran away. Period. That's on sight. Path of high adaptability, period. Taking advantage of the fact that all attention was focused on Dimitri, I slipped into the passage and hurried after her. Okay. She disappeared. The long passage was empty. The nun seemed to have disappeared into the ground. Too bad. She looked like she'd be easy to talk to. I sat heavily peering into the dark depth of the passage one last time. I turned around to go back.
You can't come here.
She was very stealthy and silent. I wanted to ask you something.
You're a stranger.
The nun pointed at me and shook her head stiffly. Your brother in faith was killed. We found his ragged grave. I offered you my sympathy.
You know why he died. Not a terrible death.
Taking my hand, the nun led me out of the monastery. We walked down the same path that I used to get inside. Taking the opportunity, I continued trying to make her talk. We also lost a man. His name was Joseph R. Does this name sound familiar? She stopped abruptly and looked at me with wide-open eyes, not really expressing anything. Her glassy black pupils absorbed light and everything that was reflected in them.
Leave the city. As soon as possible. Get away.
I looked around in panic. Neither the squad nor the monks were in the square anymore.
Simona.
Dimitri and Abram were arguing outside the monastery, and Anna, who saw me, waved her hand. Abram turned his head in my direction and walked toward me. What? The monk sneered, not even trying to cover up his hatred with feigned benevolence.
They were looking for you. Go back to your squad and tell them not to come here again unless they want problems.
Bitch, I'm gonna whip your ass. He walked away without looking back. It's the fact that she can't even speak up. Y'all, this is a fucking leverage. You tell me what you know, or else I'm gonna push your ass at the wall. I'm gonna fucking pin you on the wall. I'm gonna make them whip you. Walking out of the stone passage, I head toward the city ruins where the general and Anna were waiting for me. On the way back, the general quietly talked with Anna about what had happened. I didn't want to interfere, so I kept silent and watched the snow slowly fall down. The book, Nick's disappearance, Romanov's estate, my head's all turned around by everything that's been happening. Maybe I missed something, or on the contrary, I got lost in the weeds and got off course. Even though we failed to learn anything useful from the monks, I was clear that they had something to hide. I'll try to start over. Returning to the estate, I sat down in Romanov's secret office and tried to analyze everything that we knew. I laid out the book and other notes in front of me, looking through everything over and over again, trying to find something I found. Perhaps Boris' grandfather used to sit in his place and also leaf through the Book of the Apocalypse. Did he know all the things I'm scratching my head over right now? A strong wind began to blow outside the window. A thick dark cloud was approaching the city. It covered the sky and blocked out the sun. The office plunged into darkness. What bad timing. The window kept growing, and the window frame began to tremble, unable to cope with the pressure. Close the frame more tightly? Concerned, I got up from the table to close the rattling frame. Suddenly a red drop fell on the glass right in front of my eyes, then another one, and another. Where is the dead body? The sky swelled, turning into a rusty red medley. Stunned, I pressed myself against the glass and lifted my head up, peering into the thick clouds. What is this? I need to see what's happening on the other side of the estate. I rushed to another part of the building and checked the rooms where the windows overlooked the countryside and the square. Panic was brewing outside. The townspeople rushed around the square, trying to get inside quickly. What's going on? Hastily descended to the hall. I didn't see anyone from the squad inside. Everyone was probably already outside. I quickly threw on my coat and ran out after the others, not even taking time to button up. It's raining blood? Panic was growing in the square. Bloody skeletons drops fell on the snow, melting and devouring it. Breaking through the crowd, the monks approached the fountain. What the hell? How is this possible? I looked around in vain, trying to find at least someone from the squad. What the fuck? Why would it rain blood? This reminds me of one scene of the originals. After a few minutes, there were almost no ordinary citizens left in the square. The monks, their faces obscured by hoods, began to sing in guttural voices. And now I'm all alone, except for these strange monks. The city gradually plunged into darkness. Residents hid in their homes, and the hooded monks exposed their throats, raising their praise to the sky. Demons sit on their lips, on their foreheads, and on their fingers and knees, to stop the evil ones lashing the dead souls, and to stop the blood of the dead from sprinkling the earth. May they accept their sacrifices. What? There was a clap of thunder, and the sky roared. Where is everyone? Red drops fell on the Rotkov. They flowed down the glass window, streamed between the stones in the square, and splashed the faces of the monks. Streams of scarlet liquid ran throughout the city, looking like blood or hot metal. Walking around the puddles, I came closer to the monks and shouted a question next to them, hoping that at least one of them would answer me. What's up with this rain? Why is it red? But my voice was drowned out by the chorus of voice and the roar of the weather. Algie managed to survive. Ooh! The shaman appeared nearby out of nowhere. She took my hand and looked into my eyes. They sing our song, my peoples, about demons who wipe the dead and how their blood flows in rivers from the sky. Don't distract them. Suddenly some black shadows flew past the dark clouds. The abominations, one after another, flew over the square toward the forest. Some of the monks interrupted their chant and broke the line, beginning to scatter. Panic fueled their fear even more, not looking where they were going. They rushed away, knocking me off my feet. What the hell? Ooh, nice picture. No, I'm sorry. Are we seeing this? A nice outfit though. Really. Not abominations being everywhere. Several more abominations flew high above us. I sat in a vicious red bottle of wet snow mixed with the rain. It made it way under my clothes and I couldn't move. Suddenly, someone's strong hands lifted me up. Greg. For once, I'm happy to see someone from the squad.
Oh my gosh, Simona, I almost barely saw you. Almost got run over.
Greg? Seeing the state I was in, Greg threw my arm over his shoulder and allowed me to lean on him. He took me over to the side, pushing away the ragging monks. Do you know what's going on?
No idea, but the abomination shouldn't be here. The traps would have prevented them from getting so close to the city, so something's happened.
Oh god. Great. Y'all, what the hell? Who called the abominations? Who said that the abominations can be here? But well, what can I say other than this is on site? Like, I'm waiting. I'm actually waiting for someone to actually put these abominations out of their misery. I have no idea what's about to happen. Since when would the sky rain red liquid? This is so hilarious. How is that even possible? Or perhaps it's raining. No, y'all, I always try to find like this connection between Heaven's Secret 2 and Heaven's Secret Requiem, but Heaven's Secret Requiem happened after. It happened after Heaven's Secret 2, when there was already that huge ass rift, because after the fight with the Mother of Life and after Sifa Malum turned into the only god, that's when the rift happened. Because the Mother of Life was nowhere to be seen. She was nowhere to be found. She wasn't alive anymore. That's when the rift happened. So I always try to find like a connection between Heaven's Secret 2 and Heaven's Secret Requiem. But this happened after. How is it possible that these bitches are still here? Like, what is dragging them to the city? How is it possible that red liquid is falling from the sky? But I guess we will see in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this video with me. Tell me in the comments below what you think was best, and I will see you in another video. Bye.